Welcome back to the channel. So, best stock natural graphite wise you can buy right now, I believe, is iTech Minerals, ITM, and the ASX. I'll go reasons why, compare it against other ones. It's mainly just on price, but it's better on price and it's better on other things as well. So, brief overview of the company. If I can just find some things. They've got a JORC natural graphite resource, which is modest. It's not small. It's it's not big, but it's not small either. So they got that one. They got this one here, which will be like a 30-year mine life, 50-year mine life, never run out. Same as this Sugarloaf one here. So that's low chroma, 6 kilometers by 3, huge. They've drilled by 60 meters at 6.8%. And then they got the Sugarloaf one as well, which is also huge. There's ones with slightly better grade, but mostly the grade probably just means you're shifting more dirt, because once you get to flotation, it gets to like high percentages anyway. And they also got rare earth project, so that's the small one there. Component, that's a JORC resource. They got this one here. They got to drill out. They just raised money to drill it. They want to raise $2 million. They got offered $8 million, so to pull back on the share placement. I'm still wondering if I did go the full amount, $30,000 worth, but I'm not sure if it goes through or how they scale it back, if everyone just gets 10,000 or something like that. So pretty much, got a JORC resource. They got these big things. They've drilled a few times. They just could drill out more, and they can get to 99.99% graphite with just an alkaline process, which uses no acid. So it's basically near Renascor. So this is where it is, Eyre Peninsula. Don't know exactly where Renascor is, but probably around this way. They're around here somewhere as well. So guess what? There's roads, there's ports, train tracks, solar energy. So pretty good place to be. One downside, probably everything's going to China. So for the most part. So they do have to go all this way to China, but all the lithium right now is going from here to China. So I'm not sure what the shipping costs to China, but that's a factor as well. But yeah, they're shipping stuff to China. So that's ITM. So the reason why they're a bit better, they're only $30 million compared to all the other ones I'm going to list, about 50 million to 60 million. These guys are at 33 million. They could have got them here more to 25, and they've got about 8 million cash now. As I've said, really good location, big resource. They just have to drill out, and we're going to need a lot of natural graphite. So sodium ion batteries, if you're worried about them, they are coming. They're probably going to be better than lithium, but in some regards, but they have to scale them up. So it's like you can't just ramp up straight away. They need to do lithium ion, they need to do sodium ion. The current sodium ion ones are not as high energy density, so if you want a long distance car, you probably want a nickel based battery. Sodium ion also use nickel in the cathode. So sodium ion had the same cathode as lithium. The anode is different because they can use hard carbon, which isn't natural graphite. So the anode of a sodium ion battery isn't natural graphite. It's hard carbon, which gets made from petroleum byproducts, get made from waste. So a lot of things can make hard carbon. Everything in sodium ion battery is pretty abundant, bar the nickel, but they can use sodium ion phosphate ones as well. So sodium ion is coming, but we need to ramp both. We need all the batteries, and people are going to be paying for lithium and sodium ion as well. It's my opinion. If you want a good video on that, watch the limiting factor sodium ion review, whatever it is. So 30 million, you get 8 million cash, you get these big resources in a location where they're already at roads, already probably have solar nearby, not far to port, etc. So another example is this one. I want to buy into this one. I was waiting here, I was like, oh, maybe we'll go down a bit more, and it shot up due to them announcing that they could get to 99.8% graphite or something. but they have to use acid in their process. So that's why ITM, a tick for them, didn't have to use acid. These two have to use acid, though they could do it better in the future, not sure. And they have a massive resource, so SGA, big resource. And one of the things, it's in Kazakhstan, which, who knows, it's near Russia, but it's close to China, so it might, instead of coming from Australia, could be closer to get to China or Europe, where most of the end products will be. Although, who knows, Australia will probably start its own stuff down the track. So these guys, 6 kilometers, they're a pretty good location as well. Apparently Kazakhstan is not a bad place to do business. Only 2 kilometers from high voltage power lines. Not sure what runs them. Sufficient water supply, so pretty good location. Looks flat ground there to stick it straight out. So other thing about this company is percentage. That's a huge grade there. The average, I say, probably 10 to 15% grade, but these guys are up near 30, and a massive mine. So there's a lot of graphite there. Like lithium, there's a lot of lithium there. They just have to get out of the ground fast enough, and they can't do that fast enough because it takes time. So that's why there'll probably be a shortfall, and those, that will create a rise in price, and a rise in price means a rise in share price for companies involved in that thing. So just side note, this guy, I think, started the company. He holds 40% of it. So he IPO'd it, held 40%. Yeah. So what else can I say about this company? Pretty good one as well. I think it's got a long way to go. They do have to do a lot more drilling. Obviously plan the mine, stuff like that. Same like ITM. But they are actually 50 million right now. So ITM is about 33 million. These guys are 60 million. So double the price. But I don't think there's doubly good. Just my opinion. Although it could be wrong. Maybe the proximity to China and Europe could help them out. So we'll move along from that one. IG6. So, and saying this, like all these companies could go down. Like people could get turned off shares, sell the shares out to pay for other stuff. Probably go in recession. Maybe you can get these. You could get these companies at 30% less. You don't know what. I can't predict what's going to happen. More rising interest rates. People pulling back spending. Obviously, there's people with a lot of money and they'll be buying a Tesla just by clicking their fingers because they've got properties they're renting out to peasants. And yeah, people with money just have money forever if they're obviously investing it right. So these guys, they're not 22 million. They're 44 million. And let's go through their quarterly activities. So these guys actually got the downstream as well. They're getting it out of the ground through a mine they own. And then they're making to a sphere, because that's what needs to go into the battery, spherical graphite, and then the coating as well. So they got the downstream going as well. Their resource isn't as big as probably SGA or ITM, but they do have a big resource that could last them 20 years, which is heaps. And they got the downstream as well. Take in mind, we probably need all these companies to get into business, so all these companies could go well. You don't know. I just think maybe spread your risk out. Right now, for price 30 million, ITM with a big resource, they could announce downstream stuff as well. You get more upside there. I believe they're going to be putting the money recently raised into drilling, so there is traders. Obviously, people don't just invest long term. There is traders like SGA. People probably trading the stock right now a bit overpriced. Well, compared to its peers right now, I believe. Could be wrong. I'm not sure what the people buying it are thinking. Bit of FOMO maybe. So downstream processing. So 14 holes. So they've hit good grade. Yeah, so commission first, high quality, spheronized graphite product. So I think they're the first in Australia to produce this. They've got a pilot plant. So you get money digging out of the ground, sending it to China. Once we go into shortfall, China might need it or wherever else. But you also, if you want to do more work yourself by grinding into balls and spheronizing it, you can capture more of the money as well. And then you're not shipping so much waste overseas on a ship. So here's this guy's here. Probably got solar and wind. Pretty good workforce in a like known area. So resource here, 2.6 million tons, which will last you. Sorry, you have to times 15 by the 6%. So maybe they got 1 million tons, which is a 10-year mine life at 100 million tons target area. So that's what they drilled here, but obviously they got all this to drill. So if they get to 2 million tons, that's a 20-year mine life, which is plenty. Even, who knows, they don't want to spend money drilling now when they don't have to. They'd rather get to 20-year mine life, and then 5 years down the track, we'll say, oh, we'll spend some money drilling this. You get the idea. Hopefully you get the idea. So total density. Anyway, if you do the sums, timesing this by this, you get an idea. But I believe they do have a 20-year mine life there, which should be plenty. And maybe they can drill out more. So the thing about this, they got the downstream, but the resource isn't as big, but it's in looks like a good location. There's this company, which their mine's been attacked. It's in Africa. They've been attacked by rebels and stuff like this, but they're still a $1.6 billion company. So you can buy something in dangerous Africa and still go well. So these guys, Powerhouse, are actually selling it and doing the downstream as well. Do your own research if you want to know more about them. RNU, they got a free $200 million loan. Probably about, I don't know, you can do your own research on them as well. Another $70 million raised. So they're basically, I think they'll go very well, but I think to get more X's on your money, you might take more risk. I don't even think it's more risk. Buy ITM, who I think will be following the tracks of Renascore. And then there's this one, Volt Resources. So they are about 50 million. 62 million. But the thing about Volt Resources is they have this thing in Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine's in a war right now. That they can do 10,000 tons a year. I think they do 10,000 tons. They're doing like 10,000 tons a year of graphite. So they make 10 million out of that. But it's got a nameplate capacity of 30,000 tons. Where that's like $30 million a year. But obviously, it's during a war. And they have to run it day and night. It's hard to get supplies in there, etc., etc. So basically, you're taking the risk of the war with this one, but it's already set up. The mine's set up, and guess what? They want to go to 100,000 tons per annum. They can easily expand the mine to do so. So the resource seems quite small, but it's obviously on the ASX. You need JORC resource code, but they haven't bothered. They've got enough there. So apparently, from what I've heard, ringing up the guys, they can do 100,000 tons a year, which means $100 million a year, by not spending much money at all because it's basically already set up. But they are in a war zone. It's not really affected in the war. Sorry, their part of Ukraine isn't really affected by the war, but you get the point. Supplies and all that. So they're here. Obviously, all this place is getting attacked. But if they want to get supplies across, you get the idea. It's in a war. But then, besides that, they got this thing in Africa, which is huge. And the numbers are huge as well. So, stage 1 is $100 million a year. We'll go to this one. Here we go. So, this is stage 2. So, obviously, all these companies can raise a bit, do a small amount of tonnage per annum, and then use that to grow to do a larger scale project. So, CapEx, they spend $173 million. That's the thing about ITM. I believe they'll have a small CapEx. Because the location can affect your capex. So these guys, 173 million, but then they're going to make EBITDA of $195 million a year. So the payback period might be like 1 year. Take in mind that's the graphite price of this. If graphite goes in shortfall, it might sell for like double this price, which means it'll be like 6 months payback period. Could be wrong, this is what I'm predicting. Could be to a less extent, could just go up 30%. But yeah, you spend that money and then you get 195 million for 22-year mine life. But maybe in 15 years they have heaps of graphite, so they won't even achieve that. Who knows? So that's the thing about this thing. They got a working thing in Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine's in war, so that's the down thing there. But then they got this other big project. But if Ukraine war turns around, they start this up, they could probably spend 50 million and then make $100 million a year. And you can buy them today for 62 million. So best case scenario, Ukraine war turns around, they make $10 million a year. Use that money, don't have to dilute so much. Then build that mine better, go 100,000 tons a year, make $100 million a year, then use that money to do their other project. In Africa, who knows, we're going to need a lot of graphite, and I believe the companies I just talked about, all of them could succeed, or who knows, one might fail, 4 go well, 1 might do a 5x, 3 of them might do a 5x, 2 might fail, who knows, but that's why I don't think you should be in spread your eggs of all the baskets, and who knows, natural graphite could get kicked out altogether, though highly unlikely. Not highly unlikely, but unlikely. Looks like we're going to be needing natural graphite, because there's so much demand for lithium-ion batteries, even with other battery types, we're going to need them all to go get off petrol. We're going to need a lot of batteries of all different types. So the best one right now would be ITM. Reasons why: only 33 million, got about 8 million cash, and they got these big things in good locations. They just got to drill them out more, and it looks like they'll follow the suit of RNU. So let me know your thoughts. That's graphite. So obviously lithium's already ran. Like lithium spodumene used to sell for like $800 a ton. So you get out of the ground for 500 and sell it for 800 in the bad years. Now you get out of the ground for 500, sell it for 5,000 or an average 3,000. So massive profits there, and some companies doing 400,000 tons a year, like Pilbara Minerals, PLS. They're doing crazy tonnage each year. So that's lithium is already ran. If you're getting out of the ground like these guys in big amounts, you're printing money. And I believe graphite could be next, because we could go on a shortfall of graphite. There's no shortage of lithium in the ground, but there is the shortage of lithium coming out of the ground. So that's the thing with graphite. Heaps of graphite in the ground, but soon the years could go, like they're not racing right now to get it out of the ground because they don't need it, and when they do need to get out of the ground, they'll be behind because they haven't done it in time, which is sort of what happened to lithium. Like, look at these companies, they didn't want the lithium out of the ground, no one was building cars, COVID, etc. And fast forward, where's the lithium? Oh, we'll get out to you now, but just pay us $3,000. What do you it's only costing you $500 to get out of the ground. Well, too bad, give me my $3,000. Okay, fine, it's not much for my Tesla anyway. You get the idea. So people are willing to pay big prices, and they'll probably be willing to pay the small price for graphite. Even if graphite doubles, it's still, I think it's only $1,000 for the graphite in your car. So people, they're spending $60,000 on a car. Bear in mind, they won't have to pay for petrol ever again if they got solar on the roof and batteries. They're happy to pay triple the amount for the graphite. So it's fair to say graphite could go on a shortfall, and the price could go up, and companies getting it out of the ground could go well. Or just my opinion. And let me know if you have a differing opinion or what you think in the comments below. So these are just a few stocks. There is other ones out there. So yeah, and like there is a lot of other graphite stocks that could go well. These are just my favorite ones. So that's it for this video. Thank you.